Cake Nisa, is that you? Hi, I've missed you. I've been gone for like a week or two, but what in the world was that? I am fresh off of the boat from Bermuda. I still have remnants of sea salt and sun-kissed, glistening. Do I have a tan? I belong in Bermuda. The people of Bermuda are beautiful. The water is beautiful. Life is about being able to swim in clear waters and being happy, just being happy. I just feel like I belong in Bermuda. If there are any Bermudans, let's be friends, because I need to get back to Bermuda. I have tons of vlog videos from that whole trip. I'm going to post all of them on my other channel, Marisha Couture. So make sure that you are subscribed to that channel. For this video, I was asked to make a cake for a Great Gatsby / Gangster themed birthday. It definitely looks like this briefcase cake belongs to a little gangster because it's got some cash on there, some weaponry, if you will. If you haven't done so yet, go ahead and subscribe to this channel, press on the notification bell, and let's get started. I have baked 2 layers of vanilla cake, and I baked these in my half hotel pan. I love to bake cakes in half hotel pans because you can make them, of course, taller than you can a sheet cake. And I always have hotel pans because I cater, so why not? So I am going to fill these 2 cakes with my homemade dulce de leche, and I make this by taking a can of sweetened condensed milk and slow cooking it on the stove in a pot of water for about 8 hours. Once you let it cool, it thickens up and it turns into this rich, gorgeous filling. And if you would like to see how I make my dulce de leche on the stove, I'll leave the link in the description for you below. Once I have my layer of dulce de leche, I'm going to finish it off with a sprinkle of sea salt to balance all of that sweetness. I am now going to make one of the scariest coats of buttercream frosting that you ever did see onto this cake. This really does look scary. This looks like, Marisha, what are you doing? What's going on right now with your mental health? And it was okay. It was just late, and I was just trying to get it done. I did a lot that day, and you want to make sure that you get the shape that you want with the frosting. That's very important. We want to have a good base, and then put it in the refrigerator for about an hour. And now we can get to decorating. I made some marshmallow fondant, and I am going to take a onion bag. You know, that red mesh bag that your onions come in, your Spanish onions or your yellow onions. Save that. This is great for texture. It's going to make my briefcase look like it has a leather exterior. Just make sure that it's clean, and it does leave behind little pieces of red, so you really do have to go in and take out those little threaded pieces. After that, you're good. So I'm going to press this up against my cake. And then I'm going to take a tool that I never truly found the name of, but I know that I use it whenever I want to make seams on fabrics. And that's what I'm going to do here. I'm going to make a seam about 1.5 inches down from the top. And no, I did not want this suitcase to have perfectly square, sharp edges. It's supposed to look old, it's supposed to look tattered, and it has to be rich in color. So we are going to try our best. Now I am going to airbrush my cake, and I purposely started off with a white base because I really wanted all of the color to come from my airbrush. I am taking brown gel dye and mixing that with vodka. I am also taking brown gel dye and red gel dye and coming up with different ratios. You could definitely see the difference. You can see the side that has red in it, you can see the side that is just brown. And I'm just trying to find this seamless rich color. This is literally the process of art. You start off super confident, and then at some point you're like, what in the world is going on here? This is the worst thing ever. Why did I do this to myself? And that's the stage where I'm at now. But when it comes to airbrushing, you really just have to keep on going. Just don't stop till you get enough. Michael Jackson said it best. After doing this for about 15 minutes, it came together very, very nicely. I'm trying to airbrush evenly so that I don't have many of those blotches, but it is supposed to look somewhat spotty. Like leather, you have lighter patches and darker patches. So let's move on to the decoration for the suitcase. I'm using a silicone mold and I have some beige fondant. I'm going to use that. This is going to be the little jewel looking pieces that you may see on a suitcase. Back in the day, they were so much nicer than they are now. Little bits of gold, stuff that you just don't see anymore. I'm going to put one of these in each corner, and then I'm going to brush them with some gold luster dust, and it's going to be dry, a dry brush. I don't have to add any type of vodka just because I don't know. Okay, it's a personal preference there because everything else that I painted, I did make it into a paste, which you will see. Once I'm done that, I'm going to move on to the straps of the briefcase. I decided to go for a beige color, a marbled beige. So you're going to see there's some light parts, there's some darker parts, and I'm adding some more texture to it because I want it to almost look like burlap. I actually had a belt that looked like this, and that's what kind of inspired me to make these straps. So I'm using a tool that is a pastry or fondant cutter. It allows me to make perfect strips. They're the same size. I don't have to worry about measuring. I just eyeball it, and at that point cut it out, and I can drape that across my briefcase. I did allow for my airbrush to sit and dry for a little bit, but it still does have a little bit of tackiness to it, so it is sticking right to the briefcase. I'm going to eyeball it by holding up the leftover fondant strap to see how far I want to make that piece of fondant come up. You'll see that in a second. I'm going to add some more texture onto that strap to make it look like it was sewn onto the cake. And you can see I cut it right at that first seam that I made onto the actual briefcase. At that point, we can overlap that first strap with another piece of strap, and this is going to prepare us to make our buckle. I didn't film it, but I did sit and make all of the little pieces that I would need for my belt. I also created a handle. I literally just rolled a piece of that fondant into a log and then cut off both ends. I made a couple little squares, I made some loops, and I let those pieces sit and harden for about 3 hours so they would be perfect for painting and applying to the cake. I'm going to make a gold paste with some vodka, and I'm so sorry the camera is going in and out and it's getting blurry, but you can get a general idea of what I'm doing. I'm painting all of my hardware. I'm going to use my piping tip to cut out a small round, and then I can easily put that piece of fondant through the belt buckle loop and apply that right to the cake. You want a little piece of that leftover fondant to hang, and it makes it look realistic. I can use my piping tip to make the holes in the belt going on top of the cake, and you can see that really does bring a different type of realism to the cake. It starts to come to life. The more detail you give a cake like this, the better it looks. I'm going to repeat the process for the right side of the cake. This cake took me a long time, and I think by the end of the day the sun was gone, so I added those little buckle loops and those little trinkets. The one thing that you guys didn't see me do was add the briefcase handle, and I just did that with some water. For the gun and bullets, I'm going to paint them with some rose gold. I have rose gold luster dust and some vodka and a very, very fine paintbrush that I use for food. I'm going to demold my gun, which was sitting in the freezer for about 20 minutes. That's the only way that I could demold it without any of those little pieces breaking off. At that point, I can simply paint the handle of my gun because it's got this really cool skull on there. It looks old, it looks like it was used in the 40s, and it's perfect for the cake. I did the same thing for the bullets. I did 2 or 3 different types of bullets, and I did get a silicone bullet mold from offline, and then I just painted them gold, and it worked out very well. The cash money, however, that's the secret. It's like, no, you can find that on Amazon. I will leave the link for the realistic edible money in the description below. I added my briefcase as the top tier of this 2-tier cake. I did airbrush the handle to match the briefcase. I added a couple pieces of triangular fondant and 2 gold bars on top of that. That was it. Couture and a Gangster briefcase cake. Bye guys. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. The whole goal here was to combine a Great Gatsby theme with the gangster theme. So the bottom tier of this cake was more of a Great Gatsby geometric box cake in a sense. It was just kind of hard trying to make the two come together. It's exactly what she wanted for her vision, so that's all that mattered. I really wanted to do black, like a black belt instead of that beige color. What do y'all think? That was one of those executive decisions that it was very hard to make. The cake needs the comment of the day is going to go to Yanni Bonnie B. That is so cute. On my Minnie Mouse cake, do you charge your friends and family full price for your cakes or your creations, or do you believe in giving them a discount? Yanni says, discounts are okay, but I do feel family and friends should pay full price if they support your business and really want it to grow. And I totally see your point. I definitely do. In a perfect world, everybody would pay full price all the time. I think with my experience, I've come across friends and family who are so excited and then they hear the price and they're like, oh, snap. And I'm like, all right, just remember this when I need something, you know? I kind of created my discount, honestly, to alleviate some of that awkwardness that comes about when you give that family or friend that price and they go, I'm like, all right. I can see every perspective when it comes to this topic. It's whatever you want to do, whatever you feel like is best for you. Thank you so much, Yanni, for commenting. I definitely appreciate that comment. I have more videos to come. It is now fall, so let's get into it. I will see you guys in the next video. Bye, Cake Nieces.